Again, these are, you just start probing the assumptions.
Yeah.
And looking at the text. I mean, I say crazy things in churches like, hey, we ought to have a view of inspiration that actually conforms to what's in the Bible. The story that we're given is what I try to do in Unseen Realm is I try to look. This story is going to both emerge and make more sense. Things will connect throughout the Bible. You'll be able to trace threads through the Bible if you just do a simple thing. If you just read the Bible with the ancient Israelite in your head, or the first century Jew, when you get to the New Testament, just try to read it through their eyes. Don't make it use your vocabulary. Don't make it answer your questions. Realize the Bible was written to them, but it's written for our benefit. But it wasn't written to us. It's written for us. So try to read it like they would. Try to understand the author the way he was trying to communicate to his audience. Now, in the church, a lot of people pay lip service to this. This is where I get in trouble within Christian communities, because I'll say stuff like this, and honestly, it's true. They'll pay lip service to this, and they'll start talking about pottery and donkeys and all this archaeological stuff. They'll skip the worldview stuff because that's threatening. Because they've bought into the X-Files view of the Bible, that the Bible has to be unique. It can't be like this other stuff. Well, didn't they live back then? Aren't they people? Are they like super people? Did God like download information into their heads that nobody else got? And if he did that, why don't we have a whole list of things covered? Again, these are, you just start probing the assumptions.
Yeah.
And looking at the text. I mean, I say crazy things in churches like, hey, we ought to have a view of inspiration that actually conforms to what's in the Bible.
Well,
wouldn't that be cool?
We could have a long conversation about that. It sounds like you and I are pretty simpatico on these questions.
Yeah,
I let
the science people do the science.
Yeah.
Because the biblical writers, they're not, God's not looking at Isaiah saying, gosh, I wish I could have you write this book, but you're just so stupid. You just don't know what's going on with physics and astronomy. Wait, I got a great idea. I'll download all that information into your head, and then I'll let you write. Well, like if you carry that assumption through, if he produces all this stuff that would satisfy a 21st century technological audience, guess what? None of his readers are going to get it.
Yeah.
It's like undermines the whole communicative enterprise. And not only that, but until we reach the 21st century, it was kind of useless. I mean, these are the logical conclusions to these assumptions, but they don't get examined very often. And the Bible's fine if you just let it be what it is. It'll be fine. It's going to survive. It'll be here, and it will come alive to you in ways that you never really realized that it could. And then you can start asking yourself really important questions like, wow, I do have questions in my own modern world. I wonder what the biblical text can sustain. Okay, as far as the panoply of possibilities for this modern question that I have. Is there anything in Scripture that would actually sort of, that this would violate? And if it's not, well, like wow, I've got a whole playground here. I've got options I can consider, because I know it wasn't written to answer this specific question, but it might give us ideas and principles and thought trajectories that are really helpful. Maybe give us boundaries where we need them, like ethically or something like that, or there's something lurking in the text that kind of opens the door to this. I lecture a lot on Genesis 1:1-3, and a lot of people don't realize, it's just simple observation here. Again, if you're reading the text in Hebrew, Bereshit bara, Elohim, okay, in the beginning God created. Well, guess what? In the Hebrew text, there's no definite article before beginning. There's no word the. So you should try to translate it without using the word the. That's a little hard, which is why some translations will say things like, when God began to create the heavens and the earth was formless and empty. And that presupposes matter, material, before you even get to verse 3, let there be light. Now, it changes the way
Mhm.
you perceive the whole scene. Grammatically, that's perfectly allowable. It's not traditional, but
Mm.
it's absolutely on the table. So there are things like this that a close examination of the text can, as people who would have a high view of Scripture and we're theists and we're Christians and whatnot, it gives us some maybe not raw material to think and answer our question with, but it opens the door to legitimizing the inquiry, which is really important.